1 year of Travato ownership. Would I do it again? Hey y'all, welcome to the Ginger Walkabout. I'm here at this amazing Harvest Host location. I got Lucille behind me, obviously. I got the whiskey dog doing his explorations. I got my awning out, keeping some sun off the side of the van. And I got this view. And I don't hate anything about this. But today, the day I'm posting this, is the 1 year anniversary of the day I picked up Lucille from the dealership in Dayton, Ohio. And I get asked a lot if I would do it again. And I see a lot of people in comments on some of my previous videos about issues that I've had, saying that seeing my videos, would never ever buy a Travato or a Winnebago, and they are just, they're out, they're done. I get that. So the question is, would I do it again, given the problems that I've had? Let's talk about it. So in case you're new here, just to be sure we're all on the same page specs-wise, Lucille is the name of my van, and she is a 2020 Winnebago Travato 59GL. She was purchased from Lewis RV in Dayton, Ohio 1 year ago today. And I just hit 15,000 miles. And that means the warranty is done. Plus it's been 1 year. So that also means the warranty is done. Okay, so let's talk about the problems I have had with Lucille the van. So the first problem I had was the auto start system. And the problem was when I was turning it on to standby mode. In other words, the little button on the dash that puts it in standby mode, so if the battery gets down below 20%, starts the engine, discharge it back up. When I was putting it in standby mode, the engine was automatically starting even if I had a full battery. So I decided that was kind of important. It also freaked me out a lot because I was new. That was my first problem. I was only a few months into the Walkabout, and I was like, oh. Anyway, so I eventually made my way over to Volta in Holland, Michigan, and God bless them, they spent 5 hours, 6 hours figuring out what was going on. Best we could tell, and we never completely confirmed this, but best we could tell, is what was happening is I have an aftermarket alarm system on Lucille. I have a CompuStar alarm system with the drone module, and those run, especially the drone module, it broadcasts my location to my phone. So anytime you're transmitting, you're using battery power. So it's attached to the chassis battery. And best we could tell, what was happening was when you first went to accessory mode to start the auto start, or to set the auto start, it was dropping the chassis battery down low enough that the auto start was thinking, oh my God, the chassis battery's dying, charge it, and it was firing up the engine. So it wasn't trying to charge the house batteries, it was trying to charge the chassis battery. And so the fix for that was really simple. It was when I first turn it to accessory mode, I just gotta wait a second for some of the stuff that immediately comes on and draws battery power to stop doing that. And then the battery voltage, the chassis battery voltage comes back up. You can set the auto start and all is right with the universe. So that was problem number one, and it wasn't Winnebago's fault. It wasn't Volta's fault. It's the aftermarket alarm system, best we can tell, and I've had no problems with it since. Okay, the next issue I had, and I didn't do a whole video on this, this just got lumped in with the things that are annoying that get fixed when you take it to a dealer at some point. The Remy shade in the front window, that guy back there, that thing like completely disintegrated within the first few months. There are strings that run throughout it to hold the tension, and they came unhooked, untied, broken, something, and it all just disintegrated. I could still use it. I had to be very careful with it, and it was hard to get up and down, and so I could still use it, but it was kind of a pain. So what you're going to want to do is get one of the big folding window shades that's big enough for the van, and use that if your Remy shade breaks, or I use it, you know, for like if I'm just running into Walmart, or I just need to put something to cover the front window for a short period of time, I use the fold-up shade. I leave the Remy alone, and then I use the Remy at night, and I'm very gentle with her. Think your Remy shade be okay if you're just real ginger with her. I made it funny. If you're real gentle with it, be gentle with it. All right? Okay. Probably one of the bigger issues I have had with Lucille is the black tank valve breaking. Now, I don't know that we can call this Winnebago's fault. You know, the valve itself, as you probably saw in my autopsy of a black tank valve video, not the best made thing ever. So maybe a little bit on Valterra. My valve could have been defective. It is also quite possible that I was just yanking on that thing so dang hard that, you know, it didn't stand a chance. So I have learned to be very careful, use leverage when opening it. Black tank valve, a cheap part, not expensive. A pain to fix if you've got a full black tank, because you got to get it drained before you can replace the valve. Again, I don't know that that's a defect. I don't in Winnebago's corner, because the valve, they don't make the valve. Maybe they could get a better valve. I don't know. And Valterra, I don't know if that one was defective or they need a better design. I don't know. Or I just need to not go yanking on a black tank valve. So again, that's something I'm gonna blame Winnebago for, specifically in design or manufacture. Okay, then this is all Winnebago. The roof sealant. Now, should I have caught it sooner? Probably. Luckily, when it did actually start to leak into the van, I caught that immediately, so no water damage. But yeah, the roof sealant, there's no excuse for that. So that one I'm gonna lay squarely at the feet of Winnebago. Again, I don't know if it was a bad batch of sealant, if it was applied in inclement weather, if it was applied improperly, but it should have been caught before the van left the factory. It also should have been caught by the dealer when they're doing all their walkthrough and put together before they gave it to me. I should have caught it before I drove it off the lot, but I had no idea what I would have been looking for. But I should have caught it sooner, even once it really started to bubble. So, but again, Winnebago paid for that to be fixed, to strip all the sealant and replace it all, and they paid for it at an independent RV repair place, so I didn't have to deal with dealer service. So while I think that was an issue, they made it right. So I'm good with that. Kind of in the same grouping with the roof sealant, the fan installation and the screws and the blocking not all being together in the MaxxAir fan. Yeah, Winnebago, you probably should have caught that. That should have been a thing. Now, I'm sure once it was all put together, you couldn't see it unless you disassembled part of the fan, and obviously they're not doing that you know, in their quality control on the way out the door. But, you know, the guy installing the fan or the guy installing the ceiling, he should have caught that. So I'm gonna give that one to Winnebago as well. So that's really two Winnebago items that, yeah, y'all should have caught that. And the last item that I've had to repair is the circuit board for the MaxxAir fan. And tell you what, that little MaxxAir fan had some issues. Again, I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know what made the circuit board stop working. I know that Winnebago was great about getting the part shipped to me very quickly. Replacing it in the fan was a relatively easy task, and the fan has worked fine since then. So I can't necessarily lay that one at Winnebago's feet. I mean, the fan worked fine for the first 6 months I owned the van, and then it didn't. And like I said, you know, all I had to do was pull the fuse to turn it off and back on. Not the end of the world. So I don't, that may just be a gremlin. That's an RV gremlin. That's a stuff goes wrong in RVs. So MaxxAir fans are used across the RV industry. People really like them. So I don't think that it's necessarily their fault. I don't necessarily think it's Winnebago's fault. I think sometimes just electronic stuff just breaks. So yeah. So that was the circuit board on the MaxxAir fan. All right, so that's it. That's the 6 things that have gone wrong with my Winnebago since I've had it. They've all been repaired. Only really 2 of them will I put squarely on Winnebago manufacturing and quality control. And that's the roof sealant and the MaxxAir fan installation. The rest of it, partially user error, partially an aftermarket part that was installed that I chose to have installed. The reason I bought the Winnebago was because of the Pure 3 lithium system. I still stand by that decision. The van problems, all RVs have problems. If you see my videos and when you see them, it makes you choose not to buy a Winnebago, that's your decision. Everybody's got to make their own decision and their own comfort level and their own price range and all their own calculations. But would I buy this rig again, knowing what I know now 1 year later? And the answer is yes.